And we're live. Welcome to Whiskey Watches Wheels, the #1 podcast in Vesicolodia, a little city in Czech Republic, 15 people, and one of them listen to us. Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight? My name is the phenomenal Matt, low testosterone green.
I'm Casey.
And with it's Casey. Who's next?
I'm James.
I'm Kevin.
Do we want to start that over?
No, just keep on going.
Okay, we're rolling. We're rolling with it, right? Oh my goodness, guys, how are we doing tonight?
Doing much better now.
Listen, for those listening, I've been fucking stuck in jury duty all day. I'm slap happy. It's been one of those days. I got to go back in the morning. Well, hell, by the time this goes up, it's not a big deal. Some chulo was beating around his wife.
Hey, you're not allowed to talk about the case.
Well,
yeah.
I can't talk about the case,
Nope.
except this will air next week, and the case will be over, so I am allowed to talk about the case.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. Someone's smacking around his wife, and we got to decide if he did or didn't. So, let's.
Are you allowed to have your phone in jury duty?
No, well, see, that's the thing. So when you're in the big chamber, waiting to get called to a panel or whatever, you're allowed to have your laptop, work, phone, whatever. But once you actually get into your selective, there was 30 people that got called up for this jury, and then we go through the whole selection process. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, what do I want to do here? So I literally didn't say a word, made no eye contact, stayed to myself. And out of 30 people, they picked 6, and I was one of the 6. I'm like, what the hell? So, but once you actually get chose for the jury and then you're sequestered, no phones have to be physically turned off, not even vibrate, turned off, put away, So yeah, so at that point you're in the dark.
So once you do this case, you're done, right?
Yes. Once I do this case, I'm done.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah, this
so
case is
South Carolina, completely different.
Really?
So no electronics at all. You can't even enter the building with it. An officer will point you to the door and you go drop that off in your car. You can bring a book with you. That's about it. And you have to check in every single day. And if you did a case on a Monday, you can get called again on a Tuesday. For another case, you can get called on a Wednesday. So every single, for your jury duty, you have to be available that full week.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's ridiculous.
It's brutal.
Yeah,
I thought only non-working people got chosen for juries.
I wish that was the case, but that was not. And it was so funny how many people in there were trying to, they asked about hardships and, why should you not be able to, they say, listen, this case will probably take, 3 days max. We feel it'll be done in a day and a half. What hardships is why you wouldn't be able to be here for this case? And people are like, oh, I got an interview. I got this, I got that, and I'm thinking, I'm just going to say nothing.
3 days. It's going to be over in a day or two at the most.
Yeah, day and a half, and this thing will be done with.
Yeah.
Totally done.
Good luck.
Yep. So that's where we stand. So, who wants to start on watches tonight, guys? What are we all rocking tonight? Because I got some good stuff.
Go ahead then.
Listen, man, so since I had to go to jury duty, I'm like, you know what? What do I have that will stand out? Maybe my watch is what got me picked. So I decided to bring my turtle and I brought some straight.
That wasn't it.
No, I brought some straight fire, man. So I got I bought this turtle several years ago, and it comes with a black band and everything. And I'm like, forget it. The black band's not doing it for me. So I went to Strap Code. I got the gold band. I'm channeling my 1980s Pimp Daddy look. And so I just love this watch, man.
I think that's more Vegas Tom Jones than anything.
Probably so, or maybe Elvis, a little Elvis action going.
I love this.
These watches are great, man. They're 44 millimeters, so they're really big and chunky. It's got a screw down crown. I mean, it's a great, just all around dive watch if you wanted to. Like I said, I still have the dive band if I wanted to go diving with it. Unidirectional bezel, sapphire glass. It's got the true, unbeatable, Seiko movement, the 4R36. They put it in all their big boys from the Prospects line. I just love this watch.
Do you do much diving?
I am dive certified. I have not dove in probably 18 years, but I am dive certified. I still have all my gear if I ever wanted to go.
So it's
Yeah, you
gonna
have
go-
to get all your regulators rebuilt. I did
Oh yeah,
that,
no,
and
yeah.
I was
I
like,
would, honestly, at this point right now, I would just,
not even
you
worth
know,
it.
why I'm holding on to it, I should just throw it in the garbage. You know, my BC, everything is just shit. You know, I just throw it all away. It was all Scuba Pro material, so it was
I
great
did that. I
stuff
did
when I
that
bought it. But
a long time ago, and I
yeah,
could have just bought new regulators for what it cost to get them rebuilt and a new
yeah.
BC
I mean,
and stuff.
it was everything: Scuba Pro BC, Scuba Pro regulator, Scuba Pro Octopus, the whole works. And
Mhm.
you know, I spent a shit ton of money on it. You know, 30 years ago when I bought it all, but it just needs to go in the garbage. So
I have
So
no
yeah,
idea
so that was
what you're
what I'm
talking
rocking
about.
tonight.
Cool. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Casey.
So tonight I got one off the interwebs. I got this one out of Australia, but it is a Seiko SKX 033 with a nice faded Pepsi dial. Super cool. I'm enjoying it very much. I've found myself really putting this watch on a lot. It keeps great time. It's actually probably about 20 seconds fast per day, which is awesome. But it's easily wearable. It's not real big. I don't know the exact size of it. Maybe 36-ish, somewhere in that range. But the bezels, you know, rotating if you want to do that. But super cool, simple, and really enjoying
Is
it
that a
so far.
dark blue dial or is that a black dial?
Dark blue.
You
Dark
know,
blue.
I didn't. So when you mentioned that a while back on our little group chat, I'd never heard of the 033. You know, from the SKX line. So,
Yeah.
you know, I don't. Was that maybe a Europe spec or a Australia spec only? I mean,
That's a good question that I don't have the answer to. I do know the mistake I made with this is that it's not a made in Japan model. You know, it doesn't have the Japan.
neither
So
is ours. So
yeah, so I was a little disappointed once I realized that when it came to the house. But regardless, still, I think an awesome looking watch. Screw down crown, which is great. Everything functions as it's supposed to. Like I said, keeps good time. And I bought it out of Australia. And I will tell you, if you buy something out of Australia, don't take the economy shipping. Lord Jesus.
Oh yeah.
It I think it comes over on a rowboat. But otherwise, awesome buy, fairly cheap. Nice watch.
That's cool, man.
Nice. All right, I'm going next since we're going to be talking about Kevin's. So I am wearing a Seiko 1976 JDM
Nice.
6138-0030 Kukume. So I'm going to
yes.
show it to you on the wrist real quick,
Mm-hmm.
and then I will
Yes.
show you a shot of it here.
All right, Boomer, let's go.
There you go,
Dude, I love it.
Boomer, as if, right? So
I love that watch.
oh yeah, it's one of my favorite in the 6138 line. So on the 6138, you have the UFO, you've got the John Player, you've got the Panda, but this Kukume, which translates to square eyes in Japanese. So that's where that comes from. It is quite massive. It's 43 millimeters, which, you know, in 76, that's pretty big.
Yeah. it is
Today,
massive.
you know, we had that trend there with 44 or 45s, but lug to lug, it's 47 millimeters. So it is pretty big. I do not have the original band on it, but I do have a Steelux flat link bracelet.
It works with it well.
Yeah, it does. I think it's a great match. So there's a world version of this, and there's the JDM version. JDM version, if you can see the photo here around the date and day, is that silver box.
Mm-hmm.
And on the world version, it's a black box, which I
Nice.
think this one pops better. And this one, the JDM version, has different hands with the pointers.
Is it made in the same factory? Like I can see the symbol, but I can't. Is that the SUWI factory? SUWI. Right?
I
Is that how you
believe
say it?
so. I can't tell you that.
Look at this guy. We teach him a little bit, and now he's like over the top with all the acronyms and stuff.
Hey,
and jargon.
hey,
He's
I
got
gotta
new
learn
knowledge,
something.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I got for you today, and I'll stop.
Nice.
It's good
Sweet.
looking. I love it.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you.
today, what I'm wearing is a Seiko, and it's a cool watch. I'm going to read the back of it because it is a C7. man, I'm getting old. C717-8000. It's in 1992. So this is, let's see if I can zoom in.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
This is a watch for the visually impaired. So it pops open just like this. And you can change the time when you're wearing it by your hands here. Let's see if I can do it here.
That's so cool.
So
it almost looks like a Lordmatic, but it's not. You know,
right? And the hour markers are raised.
No, the minute hand is raised. So, the minute hand is raised, not the hour marker. You can change the hour, but it's definitely they're all raised. So all of the let's see if I can have all of the minutes are raised, but the hand that's raised, I mean, they're all raised. Yeah. But to change it, if you wanted to change it, you would move this one.
Just keep rotating it around.
Yep, and just keep rotating it around. So let me set it back.
How did you find that?
I saw it on an auction site, and I was like, that's pretty neat. So my daughter, actually, I got her one because she thought it was pretty cool too. It's a quartz. Actually keeps great time. And a lot of times you see them that they're really like the dials like kind of rubbed off and stuff. But let's see if I can zoom in on this one.
Well, I guess that's
this one is not
the nature of it, right?
Right.
Yeah. I guess if it was
used, this one's not.
Yeah. If you think about all the oils on your fingers, right?
Yep. So this one's not rubbed off. It's really just a cool watch and more of a, people go, oh, what kind of watch is that? And then actually I show it to them. So it's a pretty cool little watch. And Savannah's got one that's in silver with a metal band.
Father-daughter matching watches.
Yeah. So put this back on. But what I'm going to talk about today is I got a new acquisition. So,
yes, you did, man. I'm excited about this thing.
Let me change my camera view.
Oh, so look at that thing.
After 2 years of waiting, I got a phone call, and
wait, it looks backwards.
It's upside down.
Yeah. So I'll zoom in on it. So I am left-handed, and I wear my watch on my right hand, and any time I see somebody wearing a watch that they're left-handed and I see them wearing on their left-handed, I always give them shit about it because that's not the proper way. You shouldn't be messing up your dominant hand. Shouldn't be with a watch and messing up the bezel and stuff like that. So I waited on this when it first came out. I immediately went and put my name on the list, and I got a call like last month, I think it was, right, guys, or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, since we'll do the what everyone kind of says, it's reference number 126720 VTNR GMT Master II, and I have it in the Sprite. I think that's what's called, Sprite in black. So it's 40 millimeters. Has two dials or two rotatable 24-hour bezel, bidirectional. It very bright as far as the lume on it. Made out of 904 oyster steel. Great watch. And I have I guess it's now ceramic for the bezel. Screw down, trip lock, triple waterproofness system, up to 330 feet. So you basically pull out the crown and you set the time to where you need it to be, and then you push it in, and then you can set the other hour, and then you can rotate the bezel to, I guess, a third time if you wanted to. Wow. The only difference that I noticed is that to set the date, you have to continue. You put it in the second one and just do the hours. Click, 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 click. Oh, so Lord. It's not. I think because of the movement, because of the GMT world time, you can't. It probably can't do all those functions. So you have to turn the hour hand. So it was set on the 15th. So I had to just.
Lord, so that's super annoying. Yeah. So that might be one that would be better fit on a what do they call it? The spinner?
A winder.
Yeah, a winder. Just because that would be super freaking annoying to have to spin through all those days.
I never look at the date anyway, so for me it doesn't. Personally, it doesn't really bother me too much.
So I'm not too familiar with how you would set that date, but I know that on some of the vintage Seikos, you just have to go past the 12 and back, and then past the 12 again, and it'll change the day. You don't have to do the full 24 hours.
Oh.
On the new Seiko GMT, both of mine, when you pull it up to your first notch, you rotate it away from you. That's it. Away from you moves the second time zone, and then towards you adjust
I'm gonna go ahead and try that. Like you said,
one way moves it, and then the other opposite way adjusts the date.
no, yeah. So you cannot go back, and it takes it. If you go back, it's going to take it to the 31st.
I gotcha.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Either way, I love it.
So I got the watch. I actually have not worn it at all. I did get it sized. It's never worn. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. You know, the market the way it is. I don't know. I waited so long for it. I have plenty of watches. I may sell it.
I think you should put it on your left hand.
Yeah, that watch has so much going for it. One,
right hand.
the green and black is straight, just rad, dude. And you know, it's not every day you see those combinations. Two, it's left-handed. You know, I mean, that thing is just freaking awesome.
Yeah,
I'm with James, man. I'd wear it, and I'd just fucking wear it.
I probably am. I just have to probably be in the right occasion to wear it. I don't want to wear it at work when I'm beating around. I've been finding myself clinging, you know, hitting bezels. I have a
hitting employees.
Well, I have an Air King that that happened. I put a little scratch in it, so it's actually now getting service. It was such a small scratch. I tried to buff out the Sapphire. I couldn't do it, so I'm getting it overhauled. It was my first Rolex that I've ever purchased. Kind of, you know, one of those things. Hey, I'm gonna purchase a Rolex, and
I've made something of myself.
Yeah, and I got a service, and they're gonna go ahead and polish all the, you know, make it look new again. So I know, you know, a lot of us, we don't like, especially on our Seikos, polishing things. But I guess when you get your Rolex service, that's one of the things that they do. They polish it, make it look new. It's going to cost me, I think, about $1,100, and that's going to be a new bezel, I guess, if it really doesn't really have a bezel, but bezel, sapphire, serviced, and it's going to be I guess polished. So
yeah, Tag does the same thing. When you send watches off to Tag to have them serviced, they give it a full overhaul. They you know, if the crystal's beyond the point that it can't be buffed, they replace the crystal, they, you know, polish it, they do the whole works. So
yeah, I hope they just give me back my old stuff. So because a lot of times you can sell the stuff on the secondary market. So I was pretty excited when I got the phone call. I knew, well, when I saw who it was, because I have the lady saved on my thing, and I've placed a couple other watches on the list. I think Casey wanted one. I get a call pretty frequently, so at least for the other ones that I've had. So I don't know what watch you asked for, Casey, but that's the one that I put
have
on
a
the
whole
list. Yeah, well, the one that you told me. So
don't we all?
Yeah.
So maybe I'll get a phone call and go from there.
Yeah.
So as far as that watch goes, obviously you have a certain market of buyer, right, for that. And I'm assuming that they make a lot less of those. So the desirability or the
collectability,
retail or the resale, I should say, where does that fall?
So right now I purchased a watch for $12, brand new with tax. I believe it lists for $11,270 is I think what the price is. Let me take a look here because I just have it here.
So you got the upgraded ceramic brakes on it?
Even with the ceramic, I think it only comes with upgraded ceramic. So $11,250 out the door was $12,000. Right now, unworn, I've seen anywhere from $21,220 is the kind of the average. And then there's always some guy. Yeah, there's always some guy selling it like lower than everybody else. The lowest one I saw was $18,995 for
so you have equity in it just by getting it.
Oh yeah,
that's great.
Can you tell, if you wanted to, you could double his money.
What's the model number again? Do you remember?
Yeah, it is 126-720 VTNR. They don't go by model numbers; they go by reference numbers. Don't you hear all the podcasts? And
Oh
all the,
yeah.
So right now, this minute
Yeah.
on Crown and Caliber, they have several of the left-handed green and black GMT Master IIs, excellent condition, no box, no with papers, 21,300.
Yeah, I would definitely not buy that. The Rolex website's got 3 currently. The Rolex forum's got 3 for sale with everything for 17. So
yeah. So the difference is what I saw a lot of them. The difference once if you put unworn on it, that's what kind of
Goes
brings
up a
the
little
price
bit.
up. Yeah. And so I have not worn this one, and I'm sure they could tell. If it has any scratches at all, then they're probably it's worn. So I did take one link out. I wasn't going to, but I figured, well, I'm already there. I'll take a link out. So yeah, it's in perfect condition. And I even asked, I don't have a big wrist, but I did ask the lady, I said, what happens if you have a big wrist? And they're like, oh, you have to buy extra links. I thought I was going to have to take like 2 or 3. I don't remember. I think on my sub, I had to take two links. I think it came bigger is what I'm trying to say than this one. And it's the same. The only thing I don't like about this is the on the bottom, it's not like the Submariner where it's quick adjust. You have to actually have a tool there's 5 different settings, but you have to have a tool to move those over. Whereas
For the micro adjustment, yeah.
That's one of my favorite things about the Rolex, at least on Datejust that I've seen, is that the 5mm adjustment there. So when you get in that middle of the day and you're starting to swell or something, I really like that feature.
Yeah.
Yep. So do I. So, hey, well, that's a good segue talking about Rolex. Kevin was the only one of us that actually went to the Rolex 24 in Daytona. Even though I live in Orlando, I didn't make it to the race. So, Kev, what was it like spending 24 hours in beautiful infield?
Well, I go every year, but last year I didn't go because my wife crushed her ankle, but it sucked this year. In my opinion, there was record crowds, over 560,000 people.
Wow.
Is what they were announcing. I normally go on a Wednesday morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. You meet friends there. You meet a lot of people that you camp next to. I always have infield. I did have people. So first of all, I got there on Friday morning and there was nowhere to park at all with infield parking. So I kind of moved in between. There was a trailer that was kind of I'm at turn 4. And there's a trailer that was parked horizontal to the track. So I just pulled my van like perpendicular or parallel to his. And he left me a note on my van saying, this isn't going to work for us. And I kind of got into altercation with him and said, you don't have all these. I went to him and said, did you write this? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, this is my spot. I said, hey, man, you don't have all of this plus your spot on the grass, which is actually his RV spot. So he had a spot on his RV, which is numbered. Then he decided to park his truck there with all his firewood and then have a trailer next to that. I should go like this for the camera. Next to that. And then he wanted to park all his cars this way. And he goes, I've been coming here since I was a kid. I'm friends, I'm friends with the France family. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm going to, I said, hey man, look, the security guard that even came over and was saying, hey, this ain't going to work. And, he's like, and then I think he saw that I was like, basically not going to back off, but he said, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm like, okay, well, you
are.
Yeah. So I said, I tell you what, here's my number. I'm trying to get my old spot back. Just give me a call. And, he had his buddies park in the area. There's still a spot I could have, but I did want my old spot back. But there was a Mercedes parked there, but I got him to move, found him another spot because he wasn't going to camp. So, and he was a friend of ours. Super crowded, way too crowded for what I didn't go in the fan zone. I didn't take a look at any of the old cars. I stayed pretty much there. I barely watched the race. I just was there to hang out and
fight with people.
Fight with people, exactly.
Yeah, and I dressed up like a Corvette owner. Me and my daughter wore a Corvette hat, a tucked in hot rod shirt, and some.
Maybe that's why the RV owner was so upset because you looked just like him.
You spent 24 hours trying to make friends, and it didn't work out too well.
Yeah. So, but all, we have about 8 or 9 people, all of the same group. They hung out and drank, and we had a good time. I think most of it was just us hanging out. We do Korean barbecue. Usually, actually, we did it this time too. We introduced people to Korean barbecue, and it was a good time.
Nice.
I stayed at an Airbnb, so and one of our other friends stayed. He didn't have a place to stay, so he stayed in my van, and it was good.
Well, that was my question. So, like I said, I've never gone over there. I mean, I've done infield at like the Daytona 500, but you're there for an afternoon. There for a day. I've never spent the night there. So like all of our friends, mutual friends that were there with you. I mean, are they like? Does anyone sleep? Or are they just hanging out? I mean, are you up for all night, or what's the
So normally it's me, my wife, and my daughter, and then whoever you're next to. Usually I'm right next to a friend of ours, Mark. We all know Mark. He's got an old 356 next to him, and then all of these VW guys, VW buses and stuff. So I'm next to them. So somebody's usually always up. I usually stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning and put my earplugs in, go in my van, and sleep. It was a little warm this time. I don't have AC in my van. I do have a complete van that I retrofitted a 250 Transit that has water tank, and you can stand on the roof and all this stuff. I just didn't want to cut into the roof. So that was our party area. So we had refrigerator in there with booze. We could stand on the rack and take pictures. You see everything from up top there, fireworks and stuff like that. It's a good time. But I wasn't in the mood, and I wanted just to stay in an Airbnb and leave. And thank goodness I did, because I had a lot going on the week previous to that. And when you go there, it's Wednesday. You better be there at 7 o'clock in the morning, and you're staying there with really nothing going on Wednesday night, Thursday night, and Friday night, which is and that's how you basically meet all of these people, because they're all doing the same thing and there ain't shit to do there. So you're just hanging out with them, getting drunk and bullshitting with them. So we're going to see what's going to happen. A lot of people were complaining about the infield because they were people all the way up to the bathroom door with tents that paid for infield. Yeah. It's getting smaller and smaller. There's a lot of talk where they're converting more and more RV spots. But probably
overall,
need to do
for tents, though.
Yep.
But overall,
I think they're taking out the tents.
Don't you think that's good for the event? I mean, that it's becoming more popular. I mean, that's
550,000 people is a little bit at capacity, I think. And I didn't eat any food there because we go off, and typically what happens is if you are there, you stay there. You don't leave the premise. You can walk across, go underneath through the tunnel and walk across. But traffic's pretty dead because everybody is pretty much staying in field, because you don't want to leave and then unless you're parking in BMW club parking, Porsche Platz, or Corvette parking, you don't have a place. If you leave and you don't have your chairs and stuff like that, you're not getting that spot back. So
wow.
Yeah, I kind of hear a little bit of this just because there's been a couple events back in Kentucky that I was a part of when they were small and kind of unknown. And then as they became popular, it kind of loses that value to the people that were there first, or that were there when it wasn't as popular. You had the run. I'm thinking of being at Keeneland for the Derby. And we had the whole area where they walk the horses before the races all to ourselves. My brothers and I are throwing football. And now Keeneland has become the place, or one of the places to be, to watch the Derby and be a part of the celebration. And it's not as fun because I was there when it was empty. But to all those other people, especially to Keeneland, they're making a shitload of money off of it. I just figured that maybe that's what you're feeling a little bit, is you were there when it wasn't as busy and you could kind of have free reign. And now that it's, 550,000 people.
I tell you what, I am finding the problem, and it's been like this for the past couple of years, but even more so. I'm getting a lot of I've been doing this for 20 years. This is my spot. This ain't your spot. You don't pay for that spot. And I think a lot of people are thinking they're entitled to those spots just because they've been going there. Even some people in our group are the same way. One group, they actually lost out because people were like, I don't give a shit. It ain't your spot. It's infield parking.
No. Dude,
so
when you buy general admission, it's fucking general admission. I don't care how many times you go. It's general admission.
Is that maybe the solution is to assign spots or
agree.
make a lottery or something like that?
Well, you already have it. I think if you have infield parking, I think there were people taking 4 spots.
That's
bullshit.
Yeah,
that's bullshit.
So, they were putting out the people next to us that normally are at. They weren't even there. Their daughter was racing in the event. They parked their shit in there, took 2 spots, put all their crap, a car plus their friend's car that could have been, should have just had I think they had a parking pass. So that was taking up spots. You have people that are pulling perpendicular to the fence. That's 2 spots. Because if you're pulling this way, here's the racetrack, you're pulling that way. Well, you can't so I definitely think there needs to be a little more control or limit the infield passes. I think everybody's just, they're
need a little elbow
even myself. I'm not going to deny it when I get out there. I mean, if I'm out there first, I'm out there rolling out my tent or my awning, and technically I'm taking 2 spots. But there was people taking 3-4 spots that was a little bit. So I am kind of the ish problem too, but now it's gotten tables. I mean, there's guys out there doing DJ booths and shit like that too. So
that's crazy.
It's pretty nuts.
Why do you think it was so popular or has gained the popularity right now? Because look, it's not like that race is broadcast everywhere on the main, networks. So how is it growing? Is this all a result of post-COVID or COVID, where everyone was watching TV, everyone got into their cars or collectibles, and now they're all into it?
I think racing in general was just, with Netflix putting on like Formula One on Netflix, they just had a new series I was watching yesterday with the NASCAR. I think it's more mainstream.
It's the Gran Turismo movie, man. We can't make it to Le Mans.
It could be
24.
Exactly. It could be that. I mean, think about it. We got Ford versus Ferrari. You got the Lamborghini movie. You got the new Ferrari movie. It's just becoming more and more people. And then, now you got Porsche racing. So you had a lot of fans that we didn't really have other than the GT3 class. But now there's, LMT that Porsche's racing in. So Corvette's backed out of it. I definitely just think it's just, like you said, James, some of it has to do with everyone being cooped up. Prices have gone up. It's for 3 people and for 3 tickets and infield is over. I just renewed for next year, and it was like $480.
Is it also the fact? Is it becoming known as like a big party? I mean, is that part of the draw? Is there younger people showing up just because it's a good time?
I see the same people there. It's not like I see a lot more, but Sebring's like that too. The problem with Sebring's is that the track it's over 2.5 miles, and it's like a Formula One race. You just and then you wait a minute and then whereas with Rolex, you literally look and what do you say?
I said, how did that go?
You with Rolex, you pretty much look around and you can see the whole race.
Okay, that's cool.
Wherever you turn. So it's an awesome.
So, another question: do you think that the best alternative would be the historic racing at this point if you didn't 100%. Want all the crowds?
Because I went to that.
I mean, that's what I'm interested in. And actually, when you came back from the last race, I was like, that could be something that we could talk about as far as, how to do that.
The 4 of us were talking about going to Rolex, and it's like, I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, we already have our collection of friends that go every year, Kevin and our whole group of people, and I'm thinking to myself, well, is there fucking room for the rest of us? I mean, it's so packed there, No,
not really. Cause I had a friend that I met at Rolex, and he wanted to come, he did come over, but then it was, he wanted to come by again. And I told him, I said, hey, there's like 8 of us here, and it was about to rain, even though it did not rain. I said, hey, there's 8 of us, and if we got to go in the van, I can't fit much more people. Exactly. So HSR is awesome. Feels like the old days, and the bathrooms. So I will say the bathrooms are always clean, even at Rolex.
That's nice.
that's great. The showers are always good. But HSR, you can walk around, you can go into the pits. It's kind of free for all. You can ride a scooter or motorcycle. They don't really care. Whereas they're a little more if you, it's
we're
a lot
going
better
to
time.
HSR and I'm taking up 4 fucking spots.
So it's in October. So, come on over and I camp at that one.
October when we may be on a rally in October. Or we are on a rally in October.
I don't know when in October, but we all go camping and it's a good time.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Hey, any pro tips before we change topics as far as attending this race? You were saying going in earlier, the better, Thursdays.
So if you can go on Facebook and you can find, if you have the money, I definitely would rent a RV spot, and you have to be there on Wednesday for an RV spot. First thing in the morning, there's a line. One of our friends was camping on Tuesday night to be there at 7:00 in the morning to get his camping spot or his infield spot. I would love to do Rolex in an RV, but you're sitting there just watching it on TV. I looked at a lot of the guys and they're just watching it on TV. And I don't know, it kind of takes away. Pro tips,
right?
I would just say bring your food and your camping food and a lot of firewood. But it depends on the weather. I mean, it was supposed to be cold and then it was supposed to rain. So it all changed. I personally like it. I will tell you guys this. I love it when it's cold. 2 years ago, it was 20-something degrees outside. We froze our asses off, but it made it fun because it was something we could talk about. I mean, we were burning firewood 24 hours a day. I mean, your eyes were burning. I smelled like smoke for a week, and my van still smells like smoke because of that. So,
Kevin, you and I are Florida natives, man. So me personally, I would much rather freeze than be at, something in July sweating my balls off for 24 hours,
Right. So I don't really have any pro tips other than get there early and bring your food and all your stuff and, just have a good time. Don't be a dickhead. I don't really see any people fighting. Like I have never saw anyone.
There's our segue right there. Yeah. Don't be a dickhead.
Before we get off the Rolex, let's go over a few things real quick. So, number 7 team, the Porsche team, Philippe Nasser was driving the car when they crossed the checkered line. They came in first place.
Little early.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Matt Campbell, Dane Cameron, and Joseph Newgarden. Those were the 4 drivers that was driving the number 7 team Porsche, owned by Roger Penske. Cool thing was this was Roger Penske's first overall victory in 55 years. He hadn't won at the 24 hours since 1969, so that was pretty cool for him.
That is super cool.
Well, let's celebrate that and find out what Casey's drinking.
Oh, that's
what
great.
is Casey drinking?
Tonight we have Old Bardstown, a very nice little bourbon from the Willett Distillery. It's one of the very few bourbons from Willett that I like. This one is non-age stated. It's fairly young. But super nice. And it's about $30, $35. It's, I had never seen it till going to the distillery. It's not something that's carried, in Virginia, at least. I don't know where else it could be. But nice, cheap bottle that could easily be like an everyday sipper. It's 101 proof. So it's right in my wheelhouse as far as proof goes.
Nice.
And just a really good kind of general bourbon.
Hey, so you have homework, Casey. You have homework, Casey.
Go ahead.
No. I was going to say, not you, but have your photographer's significant other use your phone and take a photo of that and send it to us or put it on Instagram because our Instagram page is lacking bourbon photos. So get a photo and put it up.
I can do that.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, Casey, next week if you could review, if you have it. Traveler whiskey. It's like the Chris Stapleton collaboration. Have you had that?
I don't own it.
Buffalo Trace Distillery.
Yeah, I don't own it. I have not had it, and that I don't mind picking up a bottle if they have it here in Virginia. But that borderlines on something I wouldn't buy, just because it's a celebrity bottle
endorsed,
and it's a Buffalo Trace product, which Again, as I said, talking about Buffalo Trace products, usually pretty damn good, but people go freaking crazy over it. And I don't know if it's available here or not. But if it's here,
well, it's $30 here, so I don't know what it is up there.
no, it's since we're ABC stores, it might not even be in the store available because our selection's very limited. But I'll be heading to Lexington this weekend. So if we will pass by a liquor barn or a Total Wine, and I'll see if I can pick it up.
Yeah, and I'm going to try to pick it up as well because I've heard a lot of good things. I have a friend that they do, I think, Whiskey Wednesdays and at their house, a bunch of guys. Sweet. And they actually told me about it, and they said they really liked it. And they're all Buffalo Trace fans as well. So I'm going to try to get it because he said it's $30.
Yeah, I'll be curious to try it. I'm guessing it's probably just a generic one that maybe has an extra year on it or something, like a just standard Buffalo Trace with an extra year or something in Chris Stapleton's name is what I would guess.
Yeah, but for $30 and Buffalo Trace is what? I don't know. I mean, some places
it's the same.
40. Yeah, but I mean, most places they can't get it, so it's $50, $60, you know?
Yeah.
ADM.
There you go.
ADM on bourbon.
Yeah, so I'm trying to look it up, see how many years it is, but it doesn't.
Supply and demand.
It doesn't say. It says blended. So
that's right. I heard that. Yes, I heard that. I listened to a bourbon podcast, and they were talking about that it was a blended whiskey. But no, I'll give it a shot. I'm a fan of some of the blended stuff. Pursuit United's a blended bourbon, so I have no problems checking it out and trying it.
Cool. So we were talking about Porsche winning the Rolex. I don't know if you guys noticed or not. Well, we've been talking about EVs in a couple of podcasts. The Taycan prices are absolutely plummeting. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not. I mean, we're talking to cars that literally within 2 years are 50% of the value of when they were purchased.
And that's faster than that Bentley SUV. I mean, those things, it's taken at least like a couple years more than that to be 50% or more. I mean, I
think you're in Maserati territory.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's wild.
It's insane. I mean, this is hopefully the Porsche Taycan's not the new Quattroporte, but it's a good car. I mean, it's not a bad looking car. I mean, I really like the car itself, but it's getting low. I brought some photos here. I want to show you real quick. And I wanted to make sure that this was not just a one-off. So I kind of did a search around today. Here's one 2021 for 66,554. Now again, these cars, are 120, 130 when new, even for the base. I've seen them as cheap as 110, 111, but 66,554. And this had 18,000 miles on it. It was not like something with 50 or 60,000 miles.
And that's what when I was at Rolex, I was talking to my Porsche friend, but also Porsche sales guy. They had a Porsche. The guy came in to trade it in 2020, $180,000. He bought it at the dealership, $180,000 sticker price. They gave him $60,000 for it, and he took it. It needed a new battery.
Crazy.
So he told me, because I was like, well, I'll take it for 60 grand. I was telling you guys about it. He said that what they were told is Porsche said in 2019, the inner talk is they didn't make a lot of them. They weren't ready. In 2020, they knew they weren't ready, but they needed to push it out. This was, again, COVID time. They pushed it out too soon. The battery had issues in 2020, not holding charges. It's going to be about a $20,000 battery change. So they're going to put a battery in it and probably sell it for $80,000. So they're still going to sell it for less than what they have into it. Because if 60,000, battery's 20,000 or 30,000, and they sell it for $80,000. That's
well, with this photo up here that Matt's showing us, it even says that it should be in the 50s.
Correct, and
Yeah.
that's what I found fascinating. That's why I saved this one here, because this one had a little bit higher mileage. It had like 22,000 miles on it, 2021 rear wheel drive, 61.9, and it showed that it was a high price. It was $4,000 over market price.
So we know I've not been shy about saying my opinion on electric vehicles in general. Having said that, I do think this Taycan is a fantastic looking car, and the specs on it, right? The mileage has been decent. The performance specs are phenomenal, but I think the price drop begs the question of, will this hurt, or does it hurt Porsche's overall image?
Yeah.
This
I mean,
car,
look at this one here. This thing here has 12,000 miles on it. I mean, 12,500 miles for 69.
Yeah.
And this is a 2022. This is literally a 1-year-old vehicle.
And my friend was telling me that for him to get his spiff, they had to sell Taycan, at least one Taycan a month to get the extra spiff. And they had
Explain
one.
what that is first.
So every I don't know how it works. We'll say they get, I don't know, 10% commission.
It's a bonus.
A bonus.
Yeah.
So for them to hit that level of say 12% or 15%, they have to sell at least one Taycan, and then they have to sell so many used vehicles as well. And he was kind of bent out of shape because now they don't have a lot. They were giving away their last Taycan. I think it was $60,000, brand new, $60,000 below sticker price, just to get rid of it. So,
and that's the real value then, right? That's the real value. The market's going to dictate that.
You know, with the Macan, I think does this same thing. I don't want to sound.
And this is a great segue that we can go into the Macan, yeah.
But
because that's all they talk about lately is just the Macan and how fast it is. And go ahead, Casey.
What I'm saying about the used Macan market, that vehicle, again, I've used one as a loaner car. I think it's great, but the price point really pushes it far down into the what you can buy them new for $60,000, something like that. So used, they're easily into the 30s, and that is a different buyer. That's a completely different buyer.
But that's a base too. Right,
it is
that's
very well.
Right,
very well.
The
but what I'm saying is,
base is strictly a grocery getter, non-sports car. You get good mileage.
Yeah, you
don't go to Porsche and buy a base. Like I know everywhere you go, they just don't have bases.
But they're pumping those Macan bases out.
Right.
They are.
I mean, the Macan base model and the T model for Macan both have the Turbo 4. You don't want the Turbo 4. I mean, you really want to go to that S model, at least get the 6-cylinder, the twin turbo 6.
And so where I'm going with this is with the drastic drop in price of the Taycan, the cheapness of the Macan. What does that do? Is that the image, and is that what Porsche wants?
I think Porsche is going to turn around and say, we need to do this in order to fund all those sports cars and GT3s and all of that.
Okay.
And that's what everyone says, isn't it? They say, the SUVs. But do you guys believe that? I mean, do you believe that the Macan and Cayenne are is what's keeping the 911 alive?
No, I don't know. Well, from a volume perspective, I think so. I mean, listen, there's a lot more volume buyers in those cars than there are 911 buyers. So I think it's the volume.
We also know that the 911 has the largest profit margin. That has been put out there as well. So do I think it is? I mean, to look at when the 996 came out and the 955 when it originally came out, those are the cars that quote unquote saved Porsche anyhow. So I'm just trying to ask the question, is this what they really want? Is this the direction that they really want to go? And what does the image of Porsche, what happens to it?
Well,
they've always been so protective of it. What's it do to it long term?
Well, there's no company out there that is going to turn off the money spigot.
I agree.
No,
I agree.
So what's the new Macan that's come out? I've seen it all over my feed. It's sub 3 second 0
Wait,
to
are you
60,
saying
which
Taycan or Macan?
I'm sorry, Macan.
Yeah,
the
Macan.
Macan.
So this is it right here. This is the Macan EV, and basically it comes in two flavors. So you have the Macan 4
It comes in
and the Macan Turbo
and
4.
meh.
Yeah, you have the Macan 4 and then the Turbo. The regular Macan 4, 300 kilowatt battery, 402 horsepower. Going to do 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds with 136 mile an hour top speed, starting at around $78,000.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, with that kind of power, I would wish it was fast enough to rip those side blades off.
I know,
Okay,
but
what
you know
about
what? Listen,
the-
I
what
will
about
give
the S?
Porsche. So the S is going to give you 470 kilowatt battery, 630 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds, top speed of 161 miles an hour, starting at 105.3.
So
but
that's
can
exactly
we
what
chuckle?
the Taycan
Right.
Yeah.
was.
Well,
I
can we
mean, it's
chuck-
$200,000. And look, yes, we can laugh. But then you think this car, James? Do you think this car's going to go? Because you have a Macan. Do you think in 2 years they're going to be down to $30,000, or because they're starting at a lower price point?
I don't know. I don't know. Look at the Taycan, right? So they're not pricing this anywhere near the Taycan new, right? Those things were starting at 180. Any of them on the lot were going over 200K, right? So this is not that car. But you are talking about for the turbo, I'm putting that in quotes because that's the laughable part.
Exactly.
Is,
There's the
you know, not only is it 630 horsepower, but it's 833 pound-feet of torque. I mean, that's sick.
That's wild.
Right? But there's only so many times you can snap your neck back and say that was great, right?
right.
My understanding is you still got a big ass battery in an SUV, right? They are saying that it handles well, but they're saying that the steering is off. It's not very Porsche-like, and that's
it's like
the
slapping
range
a
isn't that great.
Porsche name on the side of a tank. I mean,
Well, so
Right, you can't say it's Porsche-like on an SUV. Porsche never made SUVs to begin with.
No.
So.
But here's where I will applaud them. I mean, they at least they didn't kill the ICE engine Macans. You can still get 4 flavors of ICE engine Macans, and if you want an electric, you have an electric now as well.
Because you have to. You have to be selling those. All right. So look, I have a Macan S 2018, 346 horsepower, I believe it is. It's fantastic. Handles great. You know, the GTS, that's next level stuff. And the GTS, if you were looking up until I think 2020, was at like 375. The new S is at 375 now.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
GTS
plenty
is
of power,
now.
right?
Yeah.
The GTS, that is a serious car, and these do handle well. So you can have fun in these.
Listen, I can't speak for everybody. There's a sect of our society that likes electric vehicles, wants electric vehicles, and so Porsche is giving them something.
And that's okay.
You know,
that's
for,
great.
For me, you know, me personally, I'm $105,000 for the turbo electric, all right, or $86,000 for a GTS. I'm taking the GTS.
Please.
It's 434 horsepower.
All day.
Yes, it's 1 second slower to 0 to 60. It's 4.3 instead of 3.1. That being said, it's got a higher top speed, and you can go across country in it without having to charge. You know,
And talks of this being in a Cayenne, the electric.
Not yet. Now, so I was really surprised. You know, Cayenne makes a really good hybrid. You know, I mean, Cayenne makes a really, really good hybrid. And I was really surprised that on the Macan, they decided to go just straight electric, or at least not offer a hybrid in this particular platform.
So I owning 2 Cayennes, I don't know that electric in the Cayenne makes sense to be all electric because it already weighs 5,600 pounds. It's already a beast. And secondly, the models that they currently have, the 958.1s that came in hybrid, it's garbage. And it was always garbage. The electric does not help at all. The overall gas mileage was like a 1 or 2 mile per gallon difference, and cost a significant amount more. So on the secondhand market, which is of course where I am now, you're just looking at an S that has a battery issue and is not helpful.
And I don't know why Porsche is not going towards diesel. I mean, it's everywhere in Europe.
Dieselgate.
And they're highly okay. Can you explain that?
So Dieselgate, because we have a diesel, right? Dieselgate was they were tricking the NO2, the NOx on the dyno sniffers, so that the car knew that when it was held, I want to say in third gear on like a dyno pool, it would change the timing, etc., computer magic, so that it would spit out lower results for the sniffer. And then when it's actually on the road, on-road testing was very different. It would actually get better gas mileage. It ran better, but it was trickery, which I'm a big fan of because I hate the whole thing. But when they changed their dyno, the way they did their dyno pools, the governments, that's how they found it, is because they were no longer holding in a specific gear or something to that effect. And that's how it was found. And it was found across all the Audi group,
Volkswagen group, yeah.
TDIs. Yeah.
So why don't they just, because I used to have a Volkswagen TDI. Why don't they just make it, throw another catalytic converter, make 4 catalyts? I mean, because as you know, there's Ford still making, Dodge still making, Chevy still making diesels. Why is it that the VW group can't get a smog? I think that's what you guys call it. We don't have that here in Florida, but a smog ready or efficient diesel, because in Europe they have them.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I'm a huge fan of the diesel. Ours is fantastic. It gets 30 some miles to the gallon, and it tows almost at the same MPG.
Oh yeah. And I think that's just the government wanting us to spend money on gasoline. I mean, honestly, we look at everything and we look at all of the, why do we have to be the ones to, all of Europe's still using, I mean, every car over there is diesel. You go to China, they don't give a crap about smog.
And manual.
No.
And manual as
manual.
well.
And here, we're trying to, we don't even have 1 billion people. I think we have 300 million or something like that people.
I think it's over 4. I think it's over 4 now.
Lord Jesus.
China still got almost 2 billion. We're not even making a dent, but we want to be the place of these cars, and not everybody's going to buy diesel anyways. But that's just my opinion. I love diesel myself. Great gas mileage. It's it's a byproduct of making gas anyway. So I don't know what the big deal is.
I agree.
Let me get off my soapbox.
Well, yeah, no big deal. That you're just taking over for Casey on that one, but
Exactly.
So, any comments on the new styling of the electric Macan? Besides the blades on the side look hideous.
Well,
Can you put the picture back on and let me see the blades that he's talking about?
So let me put it up here real quick.
They're more
I will
pronounced
say
than
this,
they were on the last generation.
If you look at an EV, for lack of a better term, skateboard, all these things are bolted on basically a skateboard. I think they really did a decent job. He's talking about these deals over here. They did a decent job at keeping the styling of the Macan, with the architecture being completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Was that plastic or just paint? Like a
bumper?
No,
it looks like it's and it looks like it's caved in, because again, this whole area down here is basically just one big skateboard.
The problem is they didn't need that. They didn't need. I understand it's a holdover from the previous generation, but they emphasized that line. At the door, and so they should have just removed that. That's just my opinion.
It's sunken in anyway, so it's not protecting you from door dings.
So doing a little research, I went up and I built my own, and literally the first thing I did before I did anything else besides pick a color was scroll down to the exterior and change that blade out to the car color.
Oh.
The rest of it, I think, looks cool. My understanding is that they modified the front end because of the battery, so it's a little more boxy.
I personally think it's looking more and more hot hatch-esque. I see It's obviously very low to the ground, larger wheels, and it's looking more like a hatchback to me.
And that
Not
picture
the-
right there looks like an Audi.
Yeah.
True.
I was just going to say, Audi, can you flip back one?
Yeah.
Is
Go
that some kind of fake exhaust looking vented little Honda vent action going on?
Maybe
up there.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
right there.
Yeah. Fake intake.
Yeah.
But if you look at you look at the styling here, and you go through and you compare that to the regular Macan, I mean, the styling's there. They've done a fairly job, and this is what they're trying to mimic on the other one.
Okay.
But
but you see how they did that what they did is they flipped it and made it like a vertical cut line on the EV. So there was no reason to carry that over.
Yeah.
Just
but
my
I mean,
thought.
With a complete different underpinnings and architecture, they've done a fair job at trying to replicate that.
And that plastic looks like it actually sticks out. So it almost, does it act like for door dings to
rock
prevent
guard
them?
or something like
Maybe.
that?
Yeah, because this is an ice engine model here. So
yeah, I think originally it was there for protective
stones,
for the rock chips and stuff. But
for all the
way it looks
all the
now,
off-roading these soccer moms are doing.
Yeah. So it doesn't look bad,
No, it doesn't.
Listen,
the colors are, they got a couple interesting ones in there.
I applaud Porsche for not getting rid of ice engines right away. They're still making them. They're committed to that, so they say. But their electric technology is right up there with everyone else. The new Panamera electric hybrid, the Panamera Turbo S hybrid is the fastest car currently around the Nürburgring. So their electric technology is catching up there. So
I'm surprised that that car is still around with the electric car coming in. I thought it would. Yeah, the Taycan. I thought it would kill the other one. And I guess
the
that's not the
Panamera is
case.
still around, and they're making new models. So
yeah, well, based on the Taycan and how the prices have dropped so much, maybe we'll have them all to choose from for years to come.
Panameras, if you ever look at Panamera on the secondary market, they drop just as fast. I mean, you can get a 4-year-old Panamera with 60,000 miles for sometimes in the $30,000 range. So they drop pretty quickly as well.
Cool.
But
so that ID Buzz, is that an electric vehicle as well?
It is 100% electric. Yeah. So Volkswagen's all in. So, and I just think the styling is cool on this thing. I'll share it real quick.
Oh, segue into VW here.
Yeah. Well, it's all the same family, So, but I've always loved Volkswagens, and all the electric vehicles, they don't look the same, but I mean they serve the same purpose, and this just gives us some
personality.
Coolness. Yeah, some personality, some coolness, a little cool factor. So
that's what it's going to look like. Like that's what's coming to the market.
This is the final version of the ID Buzz. So the European model's the short wheelbase. So it stopped, like the ones we saw at. They had a model of it, the yellow one that I put on our Instagram a while back, was the European model, the short wheelbase from, and it's only a 2-row seat. So it stops around right here. It's quite a bit shorter. And so but the U.S. model is going to be a long wheelbase. It's going to have 3 full rows, and
I just have a camping version because it looks like there's a slide out window too.
Yeah. They don't yet. That's the way the windows are. I'm sure there will be a camping version at some point. The doors slide all the way back.
Looks like a place to put an air conditioner.
Yeah. So interior, very let's say facts. It's a bunch of screens for all the new electric vehicles.
Kind of beige.
It is kind of beige. I'm sure they'll have different color palettes.
Yeah.
They'll have different color palettes.
Any specs on how the range, pricing?
Not yet. No.
Okay.
I was looking for all of that, and I don't know that a lot of that has been released yet.
How about release date?
Release date is supposed to be, I think, later this year. probably Q3, Q4 of 2024.
It's
so these are the
I think it
interesting.
first
looks
official
cool.
photos.
Yeah.
So,
So is that going to use the same charging port as a Tesla?
No, isn't
probably.
Tesla changing to a universal one that's used elsewhere? Didn't Tesla change, or does everybody change to Teslas?
Everyone's changing to
everything's going
Tesla.
to Tesla.
So
Okay.
everyone
Okay.
is converting their plug to Tesla. So basically, it's everyone's converting to the it'd be like Apple going from Lightning to USB-C. Everyone's going to adopt one plug, and it'll be the Tesla plug.
Okay.
Back seats, third row comes out completely if you want. So
and if you go back there, is that where the generator goes to charge yours up while you're camping? Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. You plug it in and charge it up while you're camping. Panoramic roof. So I don't know. I just thought it was, it's something different, not your standard just box.
Yeah.
So I thought it was cool. I truly wish it was not fully electric. I truly wish it was a hybrid. I just think hybrids give you, at least in today, gives you a
I love that
different
picture.
range.
Looks like a phone. Like you got this much charge. The only thing I don't like about it is I hope the front end, those aren't just stickers or decals where it has the little triangles.
Oh,
like the very front. If they should just take that off. If I don't know.
Where's that?
Very front of the car, it kind of gives make it look like a grill.
Oh,
like an
and
intake.
it looks like stickers to me. Or
wait, did that say start engine?
Yes, it did.
Instead of start
Man, either
Motor
Oh, come on.
All right,
Come on.
should be start motor, huh?
that's bullshit. It's like either you go all in electric and change all your terminology, or don't do it at all.
Yeah, just put start.
Yeah.
On.
Mm-hmm. There you go. There's.
I was going to see if I was going to get the. There you go.
There you go. See how
Yeah,
that
that does look like stickers.
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah.
stickers to me, man.
Wow.
So so this will be something I'll be excited to see in person. I saw the short wheelbase in person, but the US spec model is a little different.
And it's not very tall, is it?
No, it's actually it's pretty small when you see it in person. It's actually pretty small.
I think we're looking at these photos as with SUV eyes, right? Or minivan eyes.
It's
right. But I've seen pictures where people are next to it and you're like, wow, it's kind of squat.
Yeah. No, I think from my memory, I think it's about 8 to 10 inches shorter than an old school VW bus.
Oh, I didn't know where you were going with that.
Yeah. So anyway, that was the ID Buzz. So
cool.
Yeah,
that's a
Matt,
good way
do you
to
want to touch base on? I know James wants to go. Do you want to touch base on? He's got nothing to do though, except for listening to his fucking the records back there. Do you want to touch base on the Formula One so we can cover all the topics with Michael Andretti?
Oh yeah, Michael Andretti.
Oh,
getting,
we can. I don't. Yeah. So James would be the guy to know that. I didn't have a chance to even read the article he sent over. So
well,
everybody was talking about this at Rolex.
Yeah, I know this has been like a 2-year process as far as Andretti trying to get in a team on the grid in Formula One, trying to be the 11th team. They have 10. And in the past, Formula One was a little more fluid as far as with teams coming on and off the grid. They would, last a year, be gone. And then they changed to more of a franchise model, I guess is a good way to say it.
Or share, maybe like percentage, like shares. Like there's only 11 shares,
Well, there's only 10. So he's been lobbying. The FIA, which is the governing body of Formula One, has welcomed Andretti with open arms, but all the 10 other teams have denied their access. So it's not like the guy showing up without any cash. He's got the $200 million to pay the entry fee to get in as a team,
which is insane.
He's got Cadillac. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got Cadillac behind him. And
the reason why
no.
is wise because look at it in layman's terms. There's 10 shares, and those 10 people share the profit from ticket sales. They do not want to get, but he's putting in. I thought he's putting in $200 million to cover that.
Yes. Yes, so that they don't lose. But I thought you were going as far as, well, it's 10 teams. It makes it easier math to divvy everything.
No,
up.
he's putting the $200 million over to cover for the first year, or whatever. But it's all greed.
Exactly.
It's all greed
Right.
that the 10 don't want to share with the profits of the tickets.
Guess what? They'll be begging him in a couple years as the viewership falls, when the buzz from the Netflix stuff gets boring, as far as it's the same thing every year.
Why don't he just wait and buy Austin Martins? Because his son's not racing anymore. He's not doing good, he's probably good. Because that team was owned by the Indian guy, and then Austin Martin bought it. I don't think now that his son's not racing. I think, why would you do it? Why would you spend that money? It was for his son. Yeah. From what I've seen, why don't he just wait and then get it at a discount? Or Haas?
I don't think it was for his son. Haas is not going anywhere.
I know, he just keeps on throwing out money.
He's not throwing out money.
I think this
No.
I mean, the guy was worth $3 billion. Now he's worth $1 billion.
No. What I'm saying is he's not. The team is self-funding. He's not coming out and going into his own pockets to advance that car at all. It has to be done with sponsorship money.
Well, he's too busy doing NASCAR stuff.
Well, I kind of think,
but the model's working for him.
I think this kind of screams elitism, and that Andretti's just not in the right circle. I think this is Europe trying to give the American the middle finger. I also think that it is those same teams which want him, according to that article, to join in 28 when GM has a fully built engine for them. But we know, after watching Haas over the last several years, that it takes a while to get that team camaraderie together and get that team organized before they're competitive. And if they allow him in now, working off a Renault engine and some other chassis, gives them time while they suck to come together and learn how the whole F1 system works. And then by the time 28 rolls around and they have a new engine, which or I believe that GM will put out something that will be competitive.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden
Audi's finding that out right now, as far as
I agree,
being prepared for 26.
If you're letting them run for a couple years while they have, a non-competitive vehicle, they can figure things out, and then you drop a new chassis and engine in their lap that is competitive, and now all of a sudden they're a contender. It makes sense to me that they're just trying to hold that back.
Wasn't Porsche going to be a F1 and they dropped out? How is it that they were being allowed to have a team? And then they decided
they were going to buy. They were going to buy. They were going to buy in 50% of Red Bull.
Right.
And then Red Bull said, "No, we don't want your corporate politics and making decisions for us. So bye-bye." Okay. And I believe that Porsche was looking to give Red Bull $50 billion.
Wow.
The other part of it that I think that the current 10 teams are doing is, I think they are, as one of you all said, being a little greedy with the popularity that it's received in America, with the 3 races, the Netflix series,
possibly
etc.
4,
possibly 4. I think
owned by Liberty Media, which is an American company.
I think that their coffers are being filled, and they see those dollar signs and they're just raking it in as long as they can, which, listen, I don't hate the capitalist aspect, but I do think that the more competition is better. And I also think that a new American team, it'll just
more
skyrocket.
Fan base.
You get an automatic
line their
fan.
pockets.
You get an automatic fan. And I think that they're keeping them out to keep them down. But once they join in, I think that that team will gain so much sponsorship, excitement, fan base, merchandise, etc. From the jump.
Well,
and I think that they're just resisting that.
Fingers crossed for that, because the fans are fickle, right?
I agree, yeah.
And you hope by 2028 that there's still a buzz and an excitement. Look, there's always going to be the hardcore F1 fans that aren't going anywhere. But you know what? There was a long time where you couldn't watch an F1 race in America live, where you had to watch it on Wide World of Sports highlights, right?
Yeah.
Because the audience wasn't here. You know, they've already done a Vegas race. Well, this Vegas race was a huge success, a big pain in the ass, but it made bank when the previous Vegas races fell flat. So they do have some momentum behind them. And with Liberty Media and the way that they've marketed everything and introduced it to a new audience, look, my daughter knows who Lando Norris is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She knows. So that's a whole group of people that could care less about racing all of a sudden are into it.
And if you think about
wait too long,
one race is like a Super Bowl.
Yeah, if they wait too long.
Yep,
absolutely.
I think that
I hope it's a good move.
I hope that the Andretti machine and whatever this team that they put together, they use this to be a chip on their shoulder and push that as part of their marketing of, you know, we're coming out, we've been kicked, we've been down, and now we're going to use that for fuel. I think that sort of marketing with a new American team would be a home run.
Yeah,
no doubt.
I agree. So we'll see how it plays out.
All right, fellas. Well, it's an hour and 15. We did that's awesome, man. We did a long one tonight.
We're starting.
Anything else you guys want to talk about before we say our goodbyes?
Negative.
No? All right, man. Well, guys, thanks for listening. Catch us on all the places, whiskeyWatchesWheels.com. You can catch the podcast right there, or you can head over to YouTube and watch the video version. You can download it on all your major channels. And check out our blogs. We got other things up there. Instagram, Whiskey Watches the Wheels. You know where to find us. Send us a note. Contact us. Reach out. You got ideas, things we can get better on. We're trying. And we will catch you guys next week, all right? Peace out.
Let's go.
Later, guys.